All righty, everyone. Welcome back to the Coaches Union. Alex, how are you doing today?
Gang, gang. I'm good, dude. How are you?
I'm good, man. Killing it right now, dude. New low weigh-in this week for prep. I'm not going to disclose the weight, but
Dude, I forgot to put it on the layout of the podcast. We're going to talk about what we're currently doing
oh,
instead of like
what are
our get to know you. What's your diet? Tell the people your diet right now.
let me pull up my diet.
Pull up your spreadsheet.
My Yeah, let me pull up the spreadsheets. It's in our text messages. My diet. So I'm currently prepping. It is my sixth show. Um, this prep has been, I don't want to jinx it. I'm going to knock on wood. It's been pretty smooth, very smooth. I feel like this is the easiest time that pulling weight off of me. God, we text a lot. Okay. You want me to go like meal for meal what my diet is?
Oh,
All right. So meal one is 2 scoops away, 80 grams of oatmeal, 100 grams of strawberries, as Alex took away 50 grams of strawberries from me, 20 grams of nut butter. Meal two is 7 ounces of lean protein. I either do shrimp, tuna steaks, or chicken, ideally tuna steaks. That has been my food fixation. 200 grams of rice, 100 grams of veggie. Pre-workout, 7 ounces lean protein, 220 jasmine rice, 10 grams of honey, 20 grams of nut butter. Intra is 20 grams of carbs from carb powder. Post is 2 scoops away, 65 grams of cream of rice, 100 grams of strawberries. Meal five is 7 ounces of 96 4 ground beef, 250 grams of sweet potatoes, 100 grams of veggies, 6,000 steps a day, 35-minute sessions on the stairs 5 times a week.
that is solid.
It's not bad.
Yeah, it's a good plan. It's a really good
Yeah,
plan.
the guy who wrote it's pretty good.
Made it myself. Made it myself.
No, I feel good, dude. I think like because we started prep in like the mid 250s,
Mhm.
and there was like one week where my weight like stalled for 3 days, but since then it's been like 4, 3, 4, 5 pound drops like pretty consistently. So
We're rolling and we got to get to 217.
depending on where they height me, but
Yeah.
yes, that's what we agreed upon. Yeah,
So Chris, you do this thing where like you'll get to like 224 and then we'll just like hang out. And so I'm really trying to like get there.
we're hanging, dude.
Yeah.
It's manageable. Like I look at, dude, I look at our last prep, and I'm going to continue to be the guy to advocate for taking the year and a half improvement seasons because we were, I would argue, this level of conditioning at 8 weeks out
Yeah.
last year. It's like post Beach Bash last year or 2023, excuse me.
You just don't look so like stringy, like
Yeah,
look lean. There's a difference in like being skinny and being lean. Um, so yeah, it's gonna definitely be a fun prep. Like I'm not even gonna say out loud what I'm thinking, but like it's just gonna be a good prep. So
really
um,
good prep.
yeah, I'm excited. I actually logged in my food the other day because I had to do this assignment for school, and like we have to basically like doing an assessment on like college students and their eating habits. I eat the same thing
Mm.
every day, so I just was like plugging it all in. Dude, I eat 512 grams of carbs like a day. Um, and I was like really happy with that. I was like, that's a lot of food. Um,
Well, makes sense given your fucking output.
Yeah, so for those listening, like I don't just like work out like a bodybuilder. Like I wore a whoop strap for jujitsu practice, and like there's a difference in like there's some gyms you go to, it's like, oh, I'm gonna do a lunchtime jujitsu class, and it's like a 50-minute class. Like we train, like it is like a competition training hour and a half session. Like we like all my sweat videos, like it looks like I jumped out of a sauna. But I wore my whoop strap 2 or 3 different times, burned well over 1,000 calories like every session. So yeah, I constantly am eating. Like it's hard for me to stay above 220. Um,
Yeah.
I eat a lot of food.
If you think about it calorically, it's basically 250 grams of carbs of expenditure from one match or one practice.
Yeah.
That's insane.
So it's fun though. Like it actually, I struggle like with school and coaching. Like sometimes like if I'm taking a little bit of Adderall or I'm drinking some caffeine, like I'll miss a meal and like I'm down 5 pounds. Like,
Hmm.
um, so that's fun. But yeah, overall, like we're doing great. Actually,
How's the training been?
Training's good, dude. Yeah, training I feel better. Like, so you helped me out with like prioritizing some of my lifts better. I had Luke come in and help me out, like take that and tweak it a little more, and it's going really good. So
Fuck yeah.
I feel good. I look good. Like I keep telling myself, man, if I hadn't lost so much of my legs, like just from jujitsu and then like tearing my stupid LCL, like I'd probably just jump in a show just for the fuck of it. But
Dude, we've talked about it. You are consistently 4 weeks out.
at all times, yeah,
Conditioning goes.
it's annoying.
Yeah, dude, you could pull your carbs to like 200 and do a peak week and you're ready.
And it's funny because I'm like, I don't know why I'm so lean. I'm jabbing like six IU's of growth in me at night.
Yeah, it's 6 days of growth and 2 a days every day.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know why I can't gain weight. Honestly, man, bodybuilding so long, like and obviously I wasn't like some freak. I don't, I hated like I would just look like a chubby football player in my off season. Like I
Mhm.
can't wait to get shredded. So like now that I can maintain 220 and have abs, like I'm thrilled. I'm like, yes, please, like let me stay here. So
Bro, that's ideal. Like I've been looking forward to getting lean for so long. And now that I am, I'm like, this makes me feel a lot better about myself. I feel more productive, dude. Like I hate, like now that I'm here, I recognize like the sheer level of lethargy that I was in during the off season. I'm like, wow, I feel more productive and I want to read books and touch grass and shit. It's crazy.
yeah, you're riding that fine line of like feeling good, body fat's down, and like you're moving. We'll check back in like 8 weeks. You probably won't even want to do the podcast, but
Yeah, it's gonna suck for sure. For
like
sure.
just bounce.
Dude, I think I will say like I'm already getting to the point where like that fifth stair session, I know I did it. You know what I mean? Like throughout the day, I'm like, oh, I can feel this one for sure.
You know,
But it's like the only cardio that I prefer to do. Like I hate the elliptical at my gym. I can't do the seated bike because my attention span loses its mind.
yeah, we may have to pull that out a little bit, but for now we'll keep it.
I'll have fun with it. We've got a lot to talk about today. So we're going to review FIBO. We're going to talk about open, the top four placings, and discuss the differences from place to place. Talk about peak week visual processes at 24 hours out, prep trajectories. So basically, when it could be time to pull out of a prep or when it's time to schedule a season, how peak weeks can differ from division to division, tips that we wish we knew when we started, and how do you know what division to compete in? So from the top, FIBO. Um, what are your thoughts on the top four placings? And those for those listening, you can go to Bodybuilders Without Borders Instagram to find the scorecard as well as the call outs or RX Muscle. And that's what we're using to look at these stage shots.
So I think it's a lot of what we're seeing is like size and shape is always going to beat conditioning if the size and shape is truly that dramatic enough, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so Andrew Jack clearly is like backstage, he is Mr. Olympia, like size, shape, simply
Yeah.
he's that guy. But he was obviously in piss poor conditioning for the morning show. Sass is so like his conditioning was so bad that Sass's premier tip top conditioning surpassed that in the morning show. However, he got it back, and so an 8 out of 10 or 7 out of 10 on conditioning, but a 10 size and shape is always going to beat a 10 on conditioning at big
That level.
at that level, yes. Now you can get into local regional shows where conditioning wins and you beat the fat guy. And that's probably how it should happen most of the time. But like if you're a super heavy and you're truly in 4 weeks out shape, nobody's touching you if you're good, like the light heavy who's shredded is still not going to beat you majority of the time. If you're big
Yeah.
enough to have the size. So I think it was that because then you go down the line, okay, size, shape, condition, then you get to Sergio. Sergio has the size and the shape and good symmetry, but it wasn't enough to overpower Sass's perfection.
Mm-mm.
And so that's kind of what led us to that. But what'd you think of that?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things too, like looking at Andrew, he lost at prejudging to Sass, which I think was correct. When he walked out on stage, especially from the back, it was aggressively disappointing. This looked like a show that they probably just decided to do like 3 weeks ago and just hop into it. But obviously the dude has, just from a shape and structure perspective, his height, like he just has the factor where you can't not look at him no matter what else is going on. Um, Now with that being said, like I don't, if he came to finals or came to prejudging the way he did to finals, it would have been without a question his win, right?
Hmm.
And obviously the way he came back to finals, like he sealed the deal. I personally like Sass's look morning. I think Sass lacks in his back a little bit comparatively, but when it comes to like overall conditioning and structure, I was just a bigger fan of his overall package. I personally hated Sergio's look a lot. I don't, and that's just like I've been a fan of Sergio's for a long time. I don't like where his waistline is headed over the last few years. I think he showed up and it just looked like a bad peak, like he was flat, but also kind of watery. But I give like we were talking about the guy who got fourth, Justin. While his shape is not pretty, I think from a muscularity and conditioning standpoint, I do think he should have surpassed Sergio. That's like my biggest qualm with this is that fourth placing for him.
Yeah, because he was like blasting full. But I
Yeah.
think if you look, there's the way they judged it, and this is like when you're a coach and you have to find reasoning and understanding on a call, whether you
Mhm.
don't agree with it or not, is like there had to be something that they're seeing in front that like Sergio had over the other guy. My speculation would be that it was like when that guy wasn't in his poses, he was so blasting full. I bet his stomach was like really washed and he was having a hard time controlling his midsection.
Mhm.
Um, Sergio just looked flat.
Yeah.
But the thing with him, he came back like 6 weeks, or excuse me, 6 months off, like no training, nothing. Like Sergio's had a lot of shit. So I think the best Sergio will get is in another year with Boss. But like I think this
Yeah.
will just get his feet wet. He's probably gonna go to New York or something. Um, But yeah, it just goes to show, like, at the end of the day, with bodybuilding, it's bodybuilding. And
Yeah.
you can't chase, there's no need to chase glute lines and sacrifice your up top if you're 280 pounds. Like the big guys usually going to win. Now, that's not an excuse for the big guys to come in sloppy and off. Like, you still have to look like you dieted.
Yeah.
And I think Andrew got that wake up call after prejudging. He was like, "Oh, this ain't just a walk in the park. Like, I gotta hammer this home."
Yeah. What do you think, based on this look? Let's say Andrew brings the level of conditioning that he did to the night show, maybe like a marginal percentage better. Where do you think he falls at the Olympia? Do you think we're moving into the first call outs?
Mm-mm, no,
No.
no. I've got Derek, Hottie, Sampson, Nick, Martin in the top five.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think he'll be on the upper end of second call outs.
I think Bonac can beat him actually.
I agree
Bonac
with
in
that.
Detroit was stupid. Um,
Now, where do you think Bonac versus Martin?
Martin,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I really want Nick, dude. I want Nick to shut the house down though. Like I'm rooting so hard for Nick.
Dude, he looks insane. What's interesting is like his physique. It's interesting the translation or it's like he's grainy, but he's not at the same time, and it's
Yeah,
really complex to look at.
he's starting to really look like a mutant. Like whatever they're doing right now is really fun to watch.
Yeah, he's just like a bubble.
Yeah, yeah.
What? Okay, so the question that we got, and you can lead with this one, was the peak week visual process at 24 hours out. What do you have within this to talk about?
Yeah, so I made a post saying that like at that point spreadsheets are irrelevant. And obviously I don't say that like wholeheartedly, like you just should throw your spreadsheets out. But my point on that was like when you get to 24 hours out, you have to I can't if it's Friday at meal two, I can't really worry about what I did on Tuesday. Like
Mm-mm.
it's in the back of my head at like the trend that it caused for Wednesday and for Thursday, but like it doesn't do me any good to go look back at it. Like
Mhm.
it's just we're past that. We're here now. What do I do with what's in front of me? So for people who may not have a good coach or who have just not experienced a good peaking process, how a peak week should look is it is every meal. Like eat, pose, hour later, check in again. Check your weight, rest, eat, pose, check your weight, check in again. Like it is meal by meal decisions. Sometimes it's like, okay, eat this meal, we'll check it again in 30 minutes. We'll check again in an hour. Like it is very crucial calls. And it's when an athlete is really on and can be really good that this takes into effect. I can't say like if you're fat and just not ready for a peak or not ready to be on stage or in shape, not much we can do 24 hours out. But if you're good and can be fucking bang on, every decision matters. And I don't think that athletes know that. I don't think a lot of athletes experience that. I think that they just get like a and there are some cases where it's like, hey, yeah, we're just going to rinse and repeat Thursday. We're going to go on stage and go about it. But like, if it's like game time, I got to hammer this thing home. It has to be so crucial. Every decision you make, every water, grain of salt, like whatever you're doing. And if your coach isn't there, if your coach isn't communicating with you and misses that or like doesn't have a set plan, it's like, people are like, well, what am I gonna eat tonight? I don't know yet. I'll figure it out. Like I can tentatively tell you it may be something like this. But what I'm also doing in those moments is I'm like, ooh, I really like this 1 hour after this meal three. Okay, what time are we on stage tomorrow? Okay, well, we know that. Yeah, let's try to get them back to here for tomorrow. That's what a lot, but again, you may wake up in the morning and you have to do something totally different. So, I just wanted to give some insight on what that final look is like.
I think too, if you've done your homework leading up to peak week as a coach, you already know what directions and pivots you could potentially have to take in the sense of like you'll learn like I have some people where I got to feed them hard Wednesday, Thursday, and then we got to taper back Friday and then nibble in on Saturday. Or I've got some people where we got to feed through the whole fucking week and feed super hard. Like, but if you're doing this correctly and you start kind of mock peaking or playing with certain variables leading up to show week, then by the time peak week rolls around, you already have like a somewhat of a I don't want to say template, but you have a general guide of what path we need to walk down.
Hmm.
And then, like to your point, like spreadsheets are great. I love data, all that good shit. That is the week, especially towards the latter end of it, where we're going off of, like you said, notes app and text messages. It's like, okay, what did we just eat 2 hours ago? Cool. This is what I liked about it. This is what needs to change. And you're going hour by hour. And I'm at that point, I'm not pulling out my fucking laptop, right? Like I've made that mistake before of being that guy years ago. Um, and now it's just a matter of what, okay, do we need to be fuller, drier, sharper? Like, what do we need to do? And then what do we need to put in place to see what happens? But it's also, in my opinion, and everybody's frequency is different when it comes to the check in process during peak week. Fucking Saturday through Thursday, I'm 3 times a day minimum, right? Like, I want to see visuals and weight in the morning, post training, before bed. So we have an idea of what fluid loss looks like or rate of fluid loss looks like throughout the week. That's minimum. Come Thursday night through Friday, it's fucking every hour, every 45 minutes, every whatever it needs to be for the individual. And the same through show day. Now, if you're with somebody who it's like, hey, check in on Saturday and then I'll see you Friday, so much can go wrong
Yeah.
in that amount of time, right? So much can slip. And that's where you need to have a coach who is going to be present, whether it is over the phone or ideally in person.
Yeah. And I will say, so there are times like let's say someone has like a long work day or they like I know a visual is going to be skewed because they got something they got to go do and it's just going to fuck it up. That's when I'll be like, you know what? I don't even want to see our usual second check-in of the day. Let's just wait till bedtime. I'm not even going to worry about it. And I do that sometimes because that'll fuck with my head and
Mm-hmm.
also fuck with the athlete's head. Like if
Mm-hmm.
it's like I'll prep them. I'll usually prepare them. Hey, I just need you to know this is what's coming tomorrow is probably gonna be your worst visual. I need you to not freak out. I know it's coming. You know it's not gonna look good. Let's just take the photos and get me what I need, and we'll keep going. Um,
Yeah, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, you're probably not going to look up to snuff where you'd like to
yeah.
be.
Yeah. So there are times where I'm just like, hey, you know what, just get through your work day. Like check in me in the morning, check in with me at night. But typically like, I'm like you, I'm 3, 4 times a day for sure. Sometimes I'll be honest, like so the last 2 days I have found a look that I like. Like usually that Thursday or Friday, I've found the look that I want to bring to stage. And so that's when it just gets to like managing the scale. And what I mean by managing the scale is I'm not forcing the scale to do something. I'm using that as my guide or as my like map. Where that can get skewed is like, people may not balance their water out equally throughout the day. GI weight may can go down because protein intake and veggie intake's going down. So like they could see a pound drop and think like, oh gosh, well, I better eat more. Like I'm flattening out. This doesn't look alike. That's where it goes back to what I'm saying is you have to coach what's in front of your face. And
Mhm.
you have to understand that like you get within, proximity of the number you like, that's where you're good. But we've talked about this before, man. We'll find that number and we can ride that number all day long. And that's a sweet spot, man. And you'll notice like there's times like coming off stage, weight goes up. You notice sometimes guys posing, weight goes down. Or like people's nerves they start sweating and they get off stage, they just pose 4 rounds and like, oh, like, and then they drop 4 pounds. It's like, okay, that obviously is going to skew the scale visual. So I can't be like, oh gosh, we need to go eat 4 pounds of food. But that's kind of your indicator on okay, fluid needs to start going back in. If you took some of it out. So but again, that is like a probably as deep of a dive as I'll ever get into peak weeks on here, and how I
Mhm.
like to do them. Um, but yeah, that's kind of my summary on that.
And with peaking for different divisions, because one, every body is different, even if you are in the same division. You could take me and Colvin, who are roughly the same stature. We're going to probably, I guarantee, get peaked completely differently. But generally speaking, uh, you looking at the muscularity of the division you're in kind of helps guide in what the peaking process will look like. A bikini girl is not going to need as much food to fill out as a heavyweight or a super heavy open guy, right? In the same sense of a bikini girl is not going to necessarily require the same level of fluid manipulation or maintenance relative to a super heavy open guy.
Yeah, it's all about it, but two, you have to think about what's the best look on that person.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes a fuller look, whether it be sometimes we'll start bikini. Sometimes fuller looks better on another girl than sharper. Typically,
Yeah.
the sharper look is for the ones who are a little smaller, so they have to come in sharper to show the muscle. Fuller obviously is going to look good on girls with like the bigger glutes and all that. Um, just take up more space on stage. Um, you go into wellness, like that's a hard balance of full to soft, but like each individual has their own like issues, right? Like with you, I would like to bring you in on the like sharper, drier side than the blasting full side.
Yeah.
Um, where I've had other guys like they get so full that all their lines go away. They're just expand, like their muscles just expand like crazy. So while you are utilizing the same methods of a peak week, control your water. I'm not saying pull it, I'm saying control it. Control your water, control your sodium. Do they need to be flatter, drier, harder, whatever? Those are the levers you have to pull, right? And but then you have to go into what's best on the athlete. Like Law, perfect example, like Law can be flat and still look full. So like I don't really have to drive fullness. I don't have to force fullness on him because his semi-full people are like, oh my God, he's bursting through the seams. But some people like I really have to bring them flat to like have them sharp and cut up. Um, so that goes into the coach's eye and trusting that they know the criteria for the division too. Um, And you see this a lot, man, with like bikini and wellness. It's like, oh, well, they're too hard or they're too short. But then they get on stage and it's like, well, actually, it looks pretty good. Like, you can't go like, because they're hard and sharp, maybe different than someone who's 5 pounds bigger or 10 pounds bigger. But if they got that sharp, they would have lost all their pop and their look goes away. So, it goes back into like you can't lose, like I'll use Law as an example. I can't lose Law's back and chest to chase his glute lines. Like
Hmm.
it all has to stay within, relevance to that athlete's like particular needs.
Yeah, it's like we have to uphold the glaring strength that the athlete has, but then minimize the weaknesses as much as we can in the sense of
Mhm.
like with me, we can get me full as a fucking house, but then I get watery, generally speaking, right? Like it just doesn't have the same look. But if I come in like 30% flatter, I actually look a lot bigger because I'm sharper and way drier.
Mhm.
So for me, it's like we just have to lean into like my weakness tends to be because I have loose skin from being fat previously is like fluid retention. So that's where our emphasis has to be in the peaking process. Not necessarily worried too much about fullness because when I'm flat, I still look fine, like
Yeah.
relatively speaking, you know.
Yeah.
And that's where it gets challenging. And the only reason I say that about the differences from divisions is just like I'll use Mary as an example at Iron City. She was like, well, Levi gets so much more food than me. And I'm like, well, because Levi is 197 pounds peeled and you're 116 peeled. You don't need 700 grams of carbs. You need 200 grams of carbs.
And dude, I've had some girls out eat my guys.
Yeah.
I've had guys obviously out eat girls, but like it's something, man, that um with it's not a template, right? It's not like you said, if you're using diuretics, well, like a big guy may could use half a Diazide or a full Diazide. A little bit bikini girl probably doesn't need that much. Same thing with like typical water, fluctuations. Like usually a girl, it's tough to get a gallon, gallon and a half in. You got some guys drinking 2.5 gallons on their own. So if you're going to
Mm-hmm.
manipulate that, that's where those variables come into play. And then like overall food volumes. So definitely like don't be alarmed if your coach is using the same foods with you as a bikini girl in terms of like if you're a bodybuilder and then you have a bikini teammate and you are both eating like cream of rice and oats and whatever, like don't be alarmed that that's similar, but like be alarmed if it's like you both get 35 grams of cream of rice and 2 ounces of chicken and 12 grams of nut butter. That's the alarming part. So
That meal would piss me off.
yeah, so like the system would work and the, whatever they're utilizing would work, but there needs to be variances within each person's needs.
Absolutely. And same with like, you know, I think we'll talk about the old school method that some of you might see or have experienced where you get a burger and fry the night before and you cut your water at 9 p.m. and you take your half tab of Diazide in the morning, you go to IHOP and you get your dry carbs or whatever the fuck they call it. Like that's also not how it should look in most cases.
Yeah. If I have to do a burger and fry the night before, I'd messed up somewhere
Yeah,
and I'm having to make
absolutely.
up for it. Um,
Yeah, and I use it as an example because it's also like you should not be unless you've been eating that exact I say exact the same order from the same restaurant that's also in the town that you're going to do your show, unless you're eating that relatively consistently throughout prep as a free meal or whatever. Unless somehow you were getting IHOP pancakes every week, I don't know how that would happen. You shouldn't reintroduce new foods, especially of those sorts from a restaurant, the night before the show or the morning before the show. Like you should be eating what is familiar to your GI tract.
yeah, and let me double down on what I just said. When I say messed up, I don't mean that something's wrong. I just mean that if I'm having to use something as aggressive as like, I'm a big fan of bison and fries. I love bison and fries, steak and fries. Uh, I'm not a big fan of like burgers with buns and all that, but whatever. If I have to use something like that, what I'm saying by I messed up is I didn't anticipate how much fuller I was going to have to get you, and I'm having to do something pretty extreme to
Stress.
get you fuller because I'm running out of time. I'm not
Yeah.
like I'm not just like it's not my ideal that, oh yeah, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this, and then that Friday we're gonna have burger fry, take this tablet, go to sleep. It's not the method. It's just like I'm running out of time to do stuff. It's like if I have someone go get hash browns the morning before a show, it's because I'm running out of time. And
Well,
I
that makes me feel bad.
yeah, like
I fucking
I
love the
need
hash browns,
I
dude. They're so
need
good.
yeah, I need more. I'm it's either that or I'm trying to get I'm being greedy, if you
Hmm.
want my full honest thought. If I'm, and I think of Andrew Galanga when I think of this. If I'm, because we did bison and fry, a large fry from Chick-fil-A is 300 grams of fries. So we go get two of those, 600 grams of fries. Um, we did that with some bison. He'd been eating bison his whole prep. Um, I was just getting so greedy because he looked so fucking good. And
Yeah.
my God, did it work. Um, now, but that goes back to my post, man. It's like if I'm at 95% and I trust my intellect and I trust myself that I know I can get it to 100, I would much rather get it to 100 because if any mistakes were to happen, I could keep them at 90. Like we're not going to go that far back because I know what I'm doing. But it's so worth it. If we're so close, my ego is going to make me hammer it home, and I have no choice, man. I can't. There's this quote, and I'll use it on a post, but it says, "The greatest danger is playing it safe," and I love that. I'll fucking tattoo that on me somewhere. Like, or it's there's no greater danger than playing it safe.
Hmm.
And because God forbid, man, if you come in and if I knew I could have left something else on, like if I left something on the table, it would eat away at me. It would so eat away at me. So yeah, if I'm being completely honest, if I'm full sending it on a peak, it's because I'm being greedy. And I know that
Yeah.
my athlete looks so good that I just want to just put a dagger in it and just fucking, you know?
And go and again, this was Galanga's peak, and everybody's different. So I don't want people out there being like, "Well, I need 600 grams of fries." The other thing you have to consider is Andrew is was dick skin dry conditioned and has an unbelievable level of muscularity and like muscle maturity. So he
Yeah.
requires that much.
And even within that, because like people will take that like, oh, Alex just does this reckless thing, right? But like people like there's like it's controlled chaos. Like I know exactly how much fries we're eating. Like I know what I'm doing, but it's just like when people may hear that, they're like, oh my gosh, that's not what he ate on plan. And it's like, you know, um,
Sometimes you got to push it, and I look at it too from like a food volume perspective. Like, okay, like using AJ's peak last year, I was like, okay, we're going to use instead of 300 grams of rice, we're going to use 150 and a couple ounces of fries from McDonald's, right? Like just bump in a little, and then I would see what would happen. And if I felt like we could get a little bit more, okay, well, next time we're going to use a little bit more rice, a little bit more fries, a couple fig Newtons, and we'll see how that goes. And then we're
yeah,
just creeping as close to the edge of this cliff as we can, right? And at the end, if you feel it's there, you go.
yeah, dude, like sometimes, man, you just got to make something happen. Like sometimes you just got to
Yeah.
shake it up a little bit and be like, I need to see, is this flat? Is this full? Could this be drier? And sometimes you
Because
don't,
there's also a solution if a problem arises from that decision.
yeah, yeah,
Like, so to me, that's not reckless because there's a way to solve it if, okay, cool, we spill a little bit, simple fix, right? And it's also, you're not doing this 30 minutes before stage, it's the evening before. So we've got 10 hours
yeah,
to potentially solve whatever. So I wouldn't call that reckless. I call reckless when it's like, let's go to fucking IHOP or go get a goddamn cheese pizza the night
yeah.
before the show.
But and that's the thing with coaching, man, is like, so I'll use myself as an example. I know what diuretics do. I know like a loop diuretic, I know potassium diuretic, I know, potassium sparing, sodium sparing. I know what they do from like down to like the renal tubules in your kidneys. Like I know everything about it. I know every variable that we're doing from the water to the salt. Like I know it all. So if something goes wrong, it's like playing, house, like Dr. House. Like you have your whiteboard and you start backtracking as to what's going on and you can solve it. Like because that's the difference in a coach who knows pharmacology and who knows what they're doing and someone who just says, take the get drier pill, right? Or eat the get fuller food, or eat the
Yeah.
you're flat food. That's the difference. And if coaches and clients could hear that, like that is the one difference in someone who is smart and educated in a peak and someone who's not, is they're going to know the whole picture, not the go get a burger because it's time we need the sodium and the fat. Like, no, I need more than that. And yeah.
Well, and two, it's beyond it's having the knowledge base and then having the experience applying the knowledge base to know it in real world, real life experience. Because we can all sit here and read and mentally masturbate over any research article that we see. But again, we're coaching people, not screens.
Mhm.
So until we've actually seen it happen firsthand, it's nil to me at that point. So I
Yeah.
think that's what it's both of those coming together, not just one or the other.
Yeah, and you have to understand that that experience and that time watching peak weeks take into account. Like they play a huge factor because there's stuff that you can do if you can't decide if they're full or flat. There's stuff you can do, just watch them. Like, all right,
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna do this and this, and like let's just see what happens. And then okay, yeah, this is what I'm seeing. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. But like I said, sometimes you just gotta shake things up and just you don't know till you know. And that's where it's like you have to be comfortable riding that wave a little bit. And to me that's the most thrilling thing about coaching is peak weeks.
Dude,
I
I love
love
a
it.
little. I love when it's like you're doing like a litmus test and it proves you right.
Yeah, like remember that peak? I was like, God, dude, I'm so bored. Cause like it was like towards the end of my season and there wasn't anything to do. It was just like he was ready, we're gonna do this, gonna do that. I don't need any diuretics. It was just like a pretty standard thing. I mean, the kid looked great. He won, his divisions. But it just wasn't like it wasn't exciting. Like there wasn't like a not a problem, but there wasn't anything to like, oh, this is about to be good, right? But that's just me, man. I'm a little crazy like that. Like I like what I enjoy. It's sometimes would like put coaches in the hospital for stress. So
I think it's more fun because again, it's like it's always the what if. And I think the other thing too is like you don't really, unless you've worked with an athlete, I think for either numerous shows or numerous years, you don't really know what their 100% actually is. Like,
mhm.
100%, and here's the other thing too, like 100% doesn't necessarily exist because it's deeming perfection, and that's non-existent in the sport. So it's like, how close can we get to that? Where are we actually at right now in
Yeah.
relative to that? And it's like, let's fuck around and find out.
Yeah. And then there's times, man, where like you get done with the athlete's first show and you're like, oh, I so know what I'm doing different next time. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so know what I'm doing. But sometimes you just don't know. Like, dude, you're a perfect example. I know there's something in you that as much as you love to eat, the closer you get to stage, you don't want to eat because you don't like if your midsection's not tight, Chris goes out the window. I
Yep.
didn't know that until literally the day before you got on stage. And so now, like knowing that, I was like, oh man, oh, okay, like I'll do things so different. Like I'll probably backload you into this next show. Um, just
Dude, my
because,
my
yeah,
my first show, do you want to know what I carved up on the day of?
there's no telling.
Half a muffin.
Wow. Did you
That
feel
was it.
did you feel good?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Because because here's the thing. Here's the
Oh
thing.
man.
So the night before the show, we did a sirloin and like two orders of sweet potato fries from Chop House and a Lasix. We're doing Lasix like most of the week.
Okay.
And then morning of, my coach looked at me and told me to eat. It was like 4 a.m. I was like two of these gluten-free waffles that were like this big. It was like 12 grams of carbs a piece and two slices of turkey bacon. That was it. And then from 4 a.m. until 9 a.m., he was asleep and wouldn't text me. So I didn't eat anything. I just drank like 4 ounces of coffee. I took a nervous shit, cleared out my bowels, and then I had half a muffin, went to go backstage, and they're like, "Hey, you're lining up." I didn't even pump up, bro.
Okay. That's
So
crazy. Yeah.
as long as I
Yeah.
take a shit the day of the show, I don't care.
Yeah. But that again, that goes to show like once you learn how an athlete, what an athlete like, because that's one thing too, man, I've noticed sometimes the best thing you can do between morning and night show is not shit. Just not shit.
Just hang
Just
out.
let them relax, hang out, watch the show if it's going on after, go back to the room, just sit, just chill, just relax. Like sometimes people just need to like they just need to breathe. And there's
Yeah,
no
that was I had quite a lot of stress on me that day, so that could have definitely been part
yeah.
of it. Dude, I mean, shit, we went and I went and worked out after prejudging. I just went and got a pump to move some water around, and it worked.
Yeah, like I think there's a lot with peak weeks, man. Like you just have to, it's like what is the athlete like, right? Like
Mhm.
what are they comfortable doing? Like you're not comfortable just sitting around all day. So like if I can get you to go pump up and give you something to do, give you something to focus on, yeah, we're gonna go do that.
Yeah.
Not for any other scientific reason other than it's gonna just make you happy and relax. Um, so that's something that it's all these little things that people think like, and that's, dude, I hate, as much as I love talking about peak weeks, I hate when like first timers are like, it's peak week. Like it's just some like magical thing, which like with
Yeah.
them, a lot of times, like not even anything cool is happening. But like your body is primed and ready for peak week long before like you get to peak week if you're on, like if you're truly going to be competing for a win. Um, and so it's a weird thing to say. There's only so much you can do, but there's so much you can do in a week.
Yeah.
Like there's
Well, it does depend on and this isn't anything like I'm not saying this in like a shitty way. It does depend on the athlete themselves. Like I've got some athletes, or I've got a couple that in the past that like I knew that instructions were hard to follow. So I
yeah,
did not approach their peak in a way where we're going to have everything down to the minute. It was a very much like, I'm going to cook your food for you. I'm going to hand it to you at this time to eat it. Don't think, because I can't trust that you're going to do this correctly. No offense. And I also don't want you to stress about thinking you can't do that.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I was just watching over a peak and I was talking with the coach and I was like, we're good. There's a lot we can do in 36 hours. Like a lot.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
give me 10 hours and I'm fine.
Especially with an athlete of that caliber. Absolutely.
Yeah. So that was cool. But so yeah, that hopefully that like kind of gives some insights on peak weeks without us just like straight up fucking coaching all of y'all. If you want any more insights, just like work with one of us and we'll be
Just,
happy to get you to the
uh,
dance.
yeah, that'd be really cool. It's pretty fun working with us, in my opinion. Alex, what do you wish you learned in the beginning of bodybuilding that you know now?
So much.
So
Um,
much.
so fucking much. Training, like I wish I trained smarter. Like
Hmm.
like I was just a moving weight guy. I was like 18 years old. When can I start pressing the 100-pound dumbbells on everything? 100-pound dumbbell shoulder press, 100-pound this, 100 like um I wish I would have like learned better mechanics. Um
Hmm.
I started steroids way too young. Like I started when I was 18. Um
Mm.
like the weekend I graduated high school. I wish I would have waited. Um and then I wish when I started was 2011.
Hmm.
And so like that was 14 years ago. Blood work and like hormone replacement therapy and labs were non-existent. And so
Mm-mm.
like I just wish like not only I knew, but I wish everyone else around us like knew what we knew today. And I probably could still be bodybuilding because I just did things so wrong. Um,
Yeah.
never, I don't think I got my labs done. The first time I went and got my labs done, it was after my first show, and my doctor tested me for AIDS because I was using needles. And I was like, and like my mom's pissed because we're poor. And I'm like, Mom, I'm sorry. Like the bodybuilders are just saying, get your blood work done. Like I just wanted to be healthy. And so my
Mhm.
mom's like, pitching a fit. And then my doctor's like, an idiot. And so then I just never go back to the doctor again until I'm 25. And then like a lot's wrong, but I still keep bodybuilding. And, you know, I was always under the impression that like, oh, blood pressure medicines are bad. Like I'm not some fat old man. I don't need blood pressure medicine, but like you're injecting all these steroids and walking around with hypertension all day long. Like
Mhm.
those are the fundamental things I wish I would have known now. 'Cause like if you look at me now, obviously I'm older, but like I'm so much healthier and I'm
Mhm.
on like a third of the gear I used to take. I look 10 times better. So I think that's what frustrates me the most, man, is like I burned my candle out like way too fast,
Yeah.
not knowing much of shit.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, dude, there's a lot that I wish I knew now. Um, Training being obviously one of those things. Like I came from a similar wheelhouse where I never had to learn what the gas pedal was, but I had to learn precision, especially towards like pressing movements, arm stuff, like
Yeah.
hamstrings. Like there's some things that came very natural to me, and that was quads and back. Like I understood those off the rip. But especially for like a pressing perspective, I think the last 2 years I've, through your, obviously your coaching as well, but like I think that we have figured out how to actually like correctly press and utilize my chest and shoulders and whatnot. Um, I think patient, which granted, like when I first got into this, the goal was never to compete. And I made a post about it a couple days ago. I think one thing that I wish others would see is understanding, like when we say delayed gratification, I'm talking like years until you can, like, I've, when I look at that front double bicep that I sent you, I can finally go,
Yeah.
God damn, like I don't have that many notes for it. You didn't have that many notes for it. That's never been a thing.
Yeah.
It's taken 12 fucking years, right? And it's 7 of those have been intentionally bodybuilding. Like I stepped on my first stage 6 years ago. And I started really pursuing the stage at least a year and a half prior to that. And I say that because like I see so many people get into this shit, and because they don't recognize and comprehend the timeline it takes to achieve the physique that they're dreaming of, they just quit and then they never get to see it happen. Like, if I love the gym, I love training. That's never been an issue for me. At 15 years old, if someone pulled up a picture of me now and said, hey, in 12 years, you could look like this, that would probably only motivate me more to continue to do this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, at least it's possible. It's there. It's not a if, it's a win, you know? So I think, and I've had my moments, like I'm not going to act like I haven't just been, persistent throughout this. Like I've walked away from the sport. I've taken sabbaticals. I've made some stupid decisions. Like I've not always been present in this, but I've continued to at least check as many boxes as I could, even at my worst. Just knowing that it was for a greater good. Um, I think, I'm trying to think of some other things I wish I knew in the beginning. Um, I don't know, because I also look at like I'm fortunate for coaching myself for a lot of my career or a lot of my journey in this, because I got to make so many mistakes to myself before I could ever make them to potentially anybody else. And I got to learn a lot about myself. And I think through that, it's only benefited me as a coach that I had to make these mistakes as an athlete and learn from them.
Yeah. Like obviously there are some things I would definitely change, like the blood pressure stuff and all
For
that, but
sure.
I don't think I would have changed my route to where I am now because like I learned so much along the way and from fucking up and from doing things wrong. And I think it just like feeds into my passion of what I am about the sport now. Cause like, dude, and I tell athletes all the time, like, I know how bad I wanted it. Like it
Mm-hmm.
makes me sick when people don't want it near like I wanted it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think know that, and then like when I talk to you guys, man, like, and y'all are struggling with prep, or you're struggling with like, you know, making it through, or you're tired, you're hungry, like, dude, I would do anything to feel that like just one more time sometimes, man. Like, and it's not even a look or a stage. It's not even about the abs or the veins. Like, it's just like that feeling you get 10 days out from a show and you're just on and like you're training. You got, like I have my best training partners with me and dude, I don't know, man. I don't want to say it's like close to touching God, but like there's some days, man, you really felt like you were about to touch God. And that's something that I'm grateful where I'm at now, so I can make sure you guys appreciate it because it's like, man, don't take this for granted because dude, it's not going to be here forever. It's not.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's one thing that I am just now getting comfortable with in being present and having gratitude towards where I'm at and everything because I think too, man, like if I could give anybody anything, you cannot just hate yourself to a physique that you're gonna love. And
Mhm.
I've fucking tried, dude. I tried for so fucking long, and there's sometimes I still try. I think in a certain way, self hatred, deprecation, whatever verbiage you want to use, can be a good driving force. I cannot say it's not necessary at times, especially in prep. Like you got to fucking be mean to yourself sometimes to get through it. But you can't just only live in that. Like I look back at my first prep, dude, and I never let myself like how I looked. And I
Yeah.
look back and I was like, that was the best I'd ever. That was the first time I had abs. And then I got peeled out of my fucking mind and I won my first show. And I didn't let myself appreciate it until years later, like probably 2 years ago. I finally was like, dude, that was cool as fuck what I did. Right. And like nobody, I don't want people to fall into the same category where we're all 40 and fat and we just brag about what we used to do and what we used to be, but we didn't get to appreciate it when we were that.
Yeah, because it's so big, and that's why I tell athletes, I'm like, take pictures, take the pictures, like remember it. You're gonna look back on this physique, it's gonna be gone in 4 months. Like remember and like remember the moment, like the training, like dude, like when we all go to Colorado, man, like how many? I remember thinking this at the Airbnb last year in Huntsville. How many times are we gonna be able to do that? Like how many times are we all gonna be there? All of us are competing, like doing this, like. Probably not. I mean, fuck, dude, unless I'm like bringing a kid along one day, like probably ain't gonna be all doing this for, the next 10 years.
Yeah.
I'm damn sure not doing that. We're not all bringing our kids to an Airbnb to fucking,
Fuck no,
to
dude.
do a bodybuilding show.
Yeah.
So like, if that's one thing, man, I don't want to say I took it for granted, but a lot of those days, man, a lot of those years just ran together.
You
And
just didn't know. And
yeah,
how can you know? You
yeah.
know?
And that was the beauty of my last prep. This is dude, 14 weeks. I soaked it all up. I soaked every ounce of it up. Um, and that's
Dude,
what I try to get y'all to do.
and I can say for myself, like looking at this prep, I am obviously very much one who struggles with a lot of different like anxieties and whatever. This is like any person who I've talked, which granted we are still in the beginning stages of prep. It's gonna suck dick, and I am so fine with that. But like, I've only had the best time. I've loved doing cardio. I've loved my training. I've loved my posing. I have fully embraced it because I'm like, this is the prep this year, and it will probably be 2 years before I get to prep again. So I'd better fucking like this one.
Yeah.
But it's reflecting my physique, dude. I'm not stressed. I'm not anxious. I'm like, I feel very like just very centered right now in prep, and my body is responding accordingly. And I think it's for that reason.
Yeah, and this kind of goes on into like when we were talking about, people in relationships and how to deal with people in prep and stuff, like we really focused on the significant others and that side of it, but like for the athletes in prep, like remember that this is 16 and 20 weeks of your life. That's 4 or 5 months of a whole calendar year. Like, don't look back and be like, what have I been doing for the last 3 months? Like, enjoy the moments that you have, regardless of what it is. Like, oh, yeah, like we're going to the gym together. Oh, like, thanks for sitting here on the couch with me. Like, soak that, like try to soak that up at least. Cause like, I've came out of preps and it's like you just wake up from a dream and then you're like, where am I even at? Like, what am I even doing? And you have no other dreams or aspirations or goals in life other than like you just did a show. And then come Monday, man, like no one cares, you know? It's like, okay, well, what's next? And so like that's a big thing too, is don't let life, I'm not saying like don't go all in on bodybuilding. What I'm saying is like you can eat your meals, do your cardio, train, and sleep on time and take your drugs and still like and have a happy life and wake up day to day enjoying it.
Yeah, and here's the thing, like, and this is something that I've had to like remind myself of, and prep is an exciting time, and it obviously needs to be taken seriously. But at the end of the day, we're not checking many more boxes than we were the week prior to starting prep.
Yeah.
You're you're doing your cardio, you're going on walks, you're eating your food, you're drinking your water, you're taking your drugs, you're taking your supplements, you're posing, you're training. That is what we already kind of generally fucking do. So like almost looking at it as like this is just another day as it was yesterday and it will be tomorrow. And I think that helps alleviate one, a lot of this like pressure that you can find yourself in, but then also it helps with the post-show process because then it's just the same goal is we're going to check the boxes that are in front of us today, like we did on peak week, like we did at 6 weeks out, like we did at 16 weeks out.
Yeah.
Nothing else changes.
Yeah. And man, I had something really good to say and it totally just slipped my mind. Um, but yeah, I think that's what I would say is just enjoy the ride of it. And this is what I was gonna say. Don't look for something that's not there. Like that's never been there. Like a lot of times when we compete, we're expecting to look like fucking Martin Fitzwater or, whoever name a bikini pro or name a wellness pro. Like we think that that's what we're going to look like. And then we look back and we're like, well, why don't I look like that? It's like you've never looked like that. You've never had that. Like guys all the time, oh, I just want my glutes dug out like so and so. You've never had it. Like, stop looking for it because that takes away the joy from like your first time on stage to now. And it's like, how does that compare? Because you're comparing yourself to you. And that is something that I see people get like lost in. It's like then they just like, hey, they just nitpick themselves. And I'm like, yes, from a judging criteria and from what it takes to win a show and be a pro, yes, there is flaws in the physique, but don't look for something that's not there because it's never been there. It's not like you had it, then you lost it and you're trying to go get it back. It's never been there. You just have to continue to build it up and build it up and build it up and hopefully get it.
You have to stay in your own lane. And with that, it's like, dude, like comparison's the thief of joy. For me, it's like, dude, there are people, there are physiques out there that inspire me. There are physiques that I am wildly impressed by. I don't look at them and go, man, I really want to look like them because I never fucking will. I want to look the best that I can look because somewhere in me tells me I could probably look better than that one day. But if
Yeah.
I put them as my governor and this is the pinnacle, this is it, and I'm only lesser than, I will only perceive myself as lesser than, when in reality, I could surpass that.
Yeah. Dude, so our boy Austin Brown,
Mm-hmm.
he was doing his last show. Um I had sent him Sean Roden, right? Because like he was the more aesthetic guy. He's not the big mass monster or whatever. And so while yes, Austin doesn't look identical to Sean Roden, you can channel that energy and channel that, oh, this is the same type of aesthetic and same type of vibe I'm carrying into this stage because like you sync up well with them. And so same thing with like classic guys. If you've got a killer vacuum and a great back double, okay, well I'm gonna look up to this guy and hope that translates well to my energy that I bring on stage. But like you can't demean yourself and be like, oh, well, I don't have Sean Roden's this, or I don't have, Chris Bumstead's this. It's like, well, yeah, like, but Chris Bumstead doesn't have Lee Priest arms. And so like we all can, nitpick and be mad about something, but try to find someone that you can at least relate to that maybe in your lane, just on their racetrack, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like not many people were like Walter Debs and Kai Green, probably going to be a little more similar, right? No one's gonna think they're Phil Heath, but like find someone that you can look up to that is realistic into like, hey, this is a long arm, big backed guy. I've got a pretty good back, but I've got longer arms, so I've got a smaller chest. Like find that and channel that, but don't go use it to like pick yourself apart because no one's gonna win from that.
No, and again, it's like, what's that? Like, you're just trying to hurt your feelings for fucking what? Like, to your point, like when I look at this process, like, and those who see it, like, I am the king of side by side pictures, because that to me, that is the only thing that I give a shit about, is if I can look back a month from now, 6 months from now, to my last show and go, this is objectively better. Therefore, the work that I've put in towards this has been worth it. And we rinse and repeat. There have been numerous shows that I have hated how I've looked on stage. And there have been shows that I've liked how I've looked at on stage. But I can look for my first one to now and say that I have made progress. And therefore, what I'm continuing to put myself through and choosing to do is worth it.
Mhm.
But again, like this is a sport where like you have to have you have to develop thick skin, because you're going to show up and give your all, and it might not be the best that day for what the judges want. But if you can look back, as much as it stings, I've fucking been there. Like I've been there many times before. As long as you can look back and go say this was better than before, then you show up and make sure it's better again the next time and the next time and you keep showing the fuck up. Because unfortunately, in this world, there's a very minimal opportunity. Actually, I would say it's nearly impossible in this day and age that you're going to win everything that you do, and you shouldn't. I've learned more from losing than I have from winning. I always use Ron Partlow as the example. This dude was one spot away from a pro card 12 goddamn times and got it the 13th. 12 years. He
That's
missed by one spot
yeah.
to then get it.
And dude, there's nothing more, I don't even want to say frustrating, but it's frustrating and it's like heartbreaking at the same time. But like when like you athlete, they're so good, they're so on, and there's nothing else you could have done, and it still wasn't enough. And it's like, oh my God, because like it just eats away at you because it's like, no, we were perfect. Like they were perfect. And there's just there's literally it's almost like those situations. I wish you could point at me and be like, you know what, it's your fault. You brought me in too lean or too full or too whatever. And like, I'm like, yeah, I'll fix it. But like when you literally check every box, you do it all right, and it's still not enough. That's when it's like, but it comes down to this sport, man. It's subjective. You can go to a whole new panel of judges. They're like, well, I like this better. I like that better. And that, unfortunately, is the name of the game.
Mm-hmm.
You could have a whole new lineup in front of, stand next to all new guys, all new girls, and you may be the standout, or you may be on the corner. It's just, it's what the sport is. It's what we signed up for. Um, but regardless, like win or lose, you have to get better. Nick Walker still has to get better. Derek Lunsford still has to get better because if you're not getting better, someone out there is going to beat you. It never ends. If you didn't get beat, it's just because you didn't travel far enough to find somebody. Because
Yeah.
there's somebody. There's somebody. And so that's what I do with jujitsu, man, is like it's like you're constantly preparing for this like perfect opponent.
Mm-hmm.
It never, the game never ends. You're constantly, okay, I do this person, they're going to counter and do this. So that's going to be open. Now I got to do this and they're going to counter that and I got to go back to this. Like it never is going to end. And so it's the same with bodybuilding. You have to prepare for everyone who has like their strengths or your weaknesses, and it's just the name of the game. And hopefully you show up with apples and the judges want apples and the opponent shows up with oranges and they hate oranges. But, I wish we had a better system than that or, something, but I deal with that a lot in jiu-jitsu, man. Like my best training partner, he's about to get his black belt. He's 6'4". He is 245 he's built like an Under Armour mannequin. He's jacked. He works for the church. He's pretty. He's married to his wife, runs a modeling agency. He's a perfect human. He's a fucking 10. But aside from the point, he literally is my weakness. He's taller than me. He's stronger than me. He's heavier than me, and he's more athletic than me. So it's like he played pro basketball over in Germany. So like everything that I am, he's better. So like, how do you beat that? You don't. So I prepared just to beat him. And maybe one day I'll get him, probably not, but I'm gonna beat a lot of other motherfuckers on the way. And so that's the
Yeah.
same with bodybuilding. It's like, well, regardless of your division, set your standard. You may never get there, but you're going to beat a lot of other people trying on that route to trying to beat them.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's you have to you have to like set that goal as outlandish as it may be and just see it to as close to the end or the end as possible. Like when I explain, like when I put it in that story about like the last 12 years of this, like legitimately. So I went and I did my first show. I had no expectations and I won it. And at that point, I climbed to the top of a mountaintop that I didn't even know I had the right to get to. But then I looked to the horizon and there's a steeper mountaintop, and that's a pro card. And I went, well, fuck, that's where I have to go next. I've been chasing that for 6 years.
Yeah.
I fully intend to get there whenever I'm deserving of that. That's what I've been chasing for 6 years.
Yeah. And when you get it, man, you're probably not even going to know what to do.
No.
Yeah. It's like, I've heard this with like fighters. They'll win the title and then they're like, doesn't even feel real. It's like, now what? You know, obviously go on and compete as a pro, right? But you then just start back at the bottom. And
And
so,
I love that shit, dude.
yeah, but regardless, like I said, if you win or lose, if you turn pro or not, like there's pros that still are having to get better across
Mm-hmm.
every division. There's not one person who is a pro right now who's active competing that is resting and just hanging out.
Mm-mm.
Not one, because they have to get better because everyone else is getting better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like regardless of the outcome of this season, I got 2 years to improve
Yeah, yeah.
realistically, you know? So it's like, I just hope it's the way that we intend it to be, you know, but we won't see until we see. Um,
I already have another plan for you already. So like,
Fuck yeah,
yeah,
dude. That's what I'm saying, man. I think it's just like people, it's um, it's, I just don't know how we look at this process. And like, I'm reading Atomic Habits right now, and it's talking about like the aggregation of marginal improvement, where like we just need to improve. As if you are improving, even if it's like a 0.5% daily or weekly, exponentially that's going to rise. And 0.5% improvement is better than no improvement, and it's better than worsening,
hmm
right? But you aren't going to. It's going to be years, and that's okay. And again, if you love the process, you're going to continue to do it regardless. And there are going to be moments. I've spent years of my life where I wouldn't turn on the fucking light in my bathroom to go shower because I didn't want to see myself in the mirror. Like that exists, and that's real and true, and that's fine. But like I have the analogy that I use is I can either go and look at the fucking house across the street and go, man, I'd really love to be over there and just sit here and talk about it and really think about it and talk about how cool it'd be. Or I can look at my feet and start walking. And at some point, I'm going to look up and I'm going to fucking be there. It's like we got to
yeah,
fixate on the process and understand that that's the only way that the outcome is going to occur. But if we can sit here and romanticize about anything that we want to accomplish, but I promise you, it's not going to happen any faster than if you just actually just look at what you need to get done every day and be patient.
yeah. Yeah, it's that like Eric Thomas video, like a lion likes to hunt. Like they love the process. They don't care about eating. They love the hunt. And I talk athletes out of competing all the time. I'm like, you don't like this. I'm like, you don't like it. I know you don't like it because I loved it. You're not
Mm-hmm.
like, and it's not me being a hard ass or mean. Like I've seen it. I've seen the look on people's eyes. I've seen the day in and day out obsession, like obsession. And I've done it, dude. I was thinking the other day, I should have mentioned this on our relationship advice podcast. I remember I told my ex-girlfriend we were training legs one day and she got mad at me because I like wasn't paying attention to her like when she was talking. And I was like in the middle of legs. And I was like, I just need you to like understand that I'm just not your boyfriend for an hour that I'm training. And like terrible recommendation, guys. Um, but in that moment, that's genuinely how I felt because nothing else mattered. Obviously, looking back at it, that's a piece of shit thing to say. Like, probably would never say, would literally never say that ever again. But in that moment, that is all I cared about was bodybuilding. And so, like, you have to have obsession and you have to love this, like the food, the training, or you're never gonna make it.
Yeah.
You're just not.
And you don't, here's the other thing. And going back to what you're saying, because I don't think you're being an asshole. Like, nobody, you don't have to compete in the sense of like, nobody around you is bestowing that expectation upon you. Nobody, and when I say this, like, nobody cares, and that's okay. You don't
Mhm.
have to compete if you don't love it. And like, if you are going to do it, you need to give every fuck that you can give and then some. I had a younger guy I was working with last year, and that's why I finally told him. I was like, dude, you don't. I was like, we had numerous conversations, and I finally said, I need you to give a fuck about this more than you think you can give a fuck about anything, and then multiply that by like 10. You can be great if you want to be. You just don't know to give a fuck about it. He didn't make it, and that's fine. Like, I'm like, hey, bro, go be the dude who likes to work out and drink on the weekends. That's fine. Like, that's cool. If that aligns with your motives and expectations and goals in your life, fucking awesome. It's not for me.
Yeah, like there's because there is so much more to life outside of bodybuilding. If you don't love this, it is not worth doing. It's just not like because it's
Mm-mm.
so much. It is so consuming and expensive. And so like if you just halfway like this, I'm like, why are you wasting everyone's time? But for the listeners, go listen to YouTube, Eric Thomas, Lions Like to Hunt. And I believe he's talking NC State. Um, and he's in the locker room. It's like 6 minutes. But listen to that, and it is God. I'll run through a door when I turn it on. I love it, man. So yeah, y'all listen to that. Tag me in it. Let me know if it hypes you up or not.
Yeah, dude, it's that's where it needs to be. Is like, show day is so fast, and like, I enjoy everything leading up to show day itself. Like, I like being on stage. I like call outs. I don't like individuals. I don't give a fuck about my individuals. But like, I like call outs because I like competing against people. But I like everything else that leads up to it, because that is what produces what ends up on fucking stage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas you have so many people where it's like they fixate on, the pictures they're going to get or the cheat meal they're going to have after or whatever. And I'm like, dude, I already know you're not about it. And someone's going to show up and have done their homework and you fucking didn't because you were focused. It's like you're just sitting there staring at the flowers or whatever. It's like you're not looking at the bigger picture here.
Yeah, it's all those things are distractions, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like don't be posting food on your fucking stories. Like at least don't let me see it because I'm like, oh, we're close to breaking.
Here's another thing I'm going to say too. We talked about it. If you are if you have a loved one, a friend, a training partner, whatever it may be, that's going to compete this year, please don't buy them desserts like post show or to bring. Don't bring 47 fucking cookies. Like, bring one little thing, that's fine. Like, I'm not going to be a dick about it, but like, I've seen people show up for a little, bikini girl and they have 2 boxes of crumble cookies.
Yeah, yeah. Like you because I just did this. Like you have to strategically like plan what's feasible to be eaten within 24 hours. Like
Mhm.
can't like and like what's realistic. Like it's not realistic to consume a dozen Krispy Kreme donuts. But like so, maybe like find a little two of their favorites and then you're good to go, right? Don't like just full send, everything, because not only are you probably thinking get them something, but probably someone else is getting them something, and someone else is getting them something. Plus, maybe they just want something that you haven't thought of. And like they've been really thinking about it, or maybe they don't want to feel sick after. So then they have like little healthy things that they want to eat. And so you just have to like show support and like proud of you, but don't like there's so much more than the fucking food. Like
Mhm.
there's just so much more to competing than the food after. Like, yes, have them a little something, but like don't go overboard because you know what? You got the rest of the fucking year to feed them whatever they want. So
Yeah.
like let it ride out a little bit. See what they want on maybe Tuesday. Like that's a
Yeah.
good idea.
Yeah, I think, and like we're from the South, I get it. Food is the easiest love language to understand here. My mama makes me an apple pie and banana bread muffins after every show. I get it. That being said, I don't eat all of the things that are put in front of me. And the reason I say that is because, like, and this was a really weird situation. So after my season in 2021, I ended up getting COVID and like the kind where you can't taste anything.
Mhm.
And people were like giving me food and I was eating it knowing that I couldn't taste it. It was the most bizarre sensation. I just wanted to eat it because it was something I hadn't had. It was in front of me, whatever. But like take that part out of it, not being able to taste it. Now imagine if you can taste it. You're going to eat everything that is within arm's reach. So for somebody who, and granted, like I know it's all coming from a place of love and support, but for somebody who's not familiar with bodybuilding and prep, it's like you're kind of putting like a six pack of beer in front of an alcoholic, right? Or you're putting something in front of somebody who has very minimal restraint and really just restraint. Like, dude, again, it's like you get done and someone hands you a cookie. I'm gonna inhale that bitch. I'm not ignorant to that fact. So don't bring 12 cookies for them to inhale.
Yeah.
Like, bring them one, please.
Dude, and those little like those big like conglomerate cookies, they're not even that fucking good. They taste like too much like baking soda or baking powder
Like
and like
Crisco.
yeah, it's like they taste fake. It's like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm not competing anymore, so y'all don't show up with that shit. But like sometimes it's like a pound cookie. It's like, dude, just like why don't we just go to Insomnia and like get me two of those? That'd be cool.
Like, let's get a meal and then we can have a little cookie after. You
Yeah,
know, like
you know.
let's have some fruit maybe or a vegetable and maybe some electrolytes and then we can have like a little sweet treat at
Yeah.
the end because it's also like you still want to look good, like obviously the following as long as humanly possible ideally, but especially the next day, like if you're going to go to the gym, get a pump, try to get some pictures, you don't want to show up with a toddler belly because you just consume so much dairy that you're backed up for 3 days. Like
Yeah.
that's embarrassing.
Dude, usually after people carve up with me, they don't want to eat a whole lot. They just,
Dude, I know exactly what I ate after Night of Champions. I had one chicken tender from Wingstop. I had one wing from Wingstop. I had 3 pieces of sushi, 4 pieces or like 4 bites of Mongolian beef, and a Powerade Zero.
yeah,
That was it because I was
pretty
full. I was
tapped
like, I
out
don't
on
care.
food. My last show, I went and dude, I carved up a lot. I went and just got some salmon and brown rice from like Applebee's and like some fruit. And I was like, oh, this is so good. That and I just wanted some water. I was like, please, just like water and vegetables. I was
Dude,
so
that's it. The morning after I had avocado toast because it was like this sounds good, and I don't want to like fart and have indigestion the entire drive home.
yeah, like you don't want to feel just like that's the thing. You got to drive the next day. Like I don't want to feel gross, Like I don't want to just stuff my face with pancakes and like, okay, now let's go
Yeah,
drive.
we gotta try to drive back, dude, and just like fall asleep at the wheel.
No.
No, post show is challenging. Like I'm not, two things can be true, but it's like much like anything, it comes back to like preparation. If you have like I had to do with one of my girls last year where she told me all the stuff that she brought, and I was like, you got to throw away 85% of that. Like
Mhm.
whatever you really don't care about. Like I was like, pick out 3 or 4 things of this that you have that you enjoy that you really think you want to have. We're getting rid of everything else because it was like no joke. It was 40,000 calories of shit.
Yeah, yeah, and like that's the thing, man, is I think athletes don't realize is how just after a few bites, you're good. You just want some flavor. Like, so yeah, like if you have like a couple assortments of things, and you're like nibbling on it, cool. But like, don't show up with like a box of Reese's, a box of Honey Buns, a box of, Nutty Buddy, like whatever. Like, don't just have a pantry full of just shit you plan to eat post show because you will eat it and then you will feel sick and then you will look like horrible.
And
Um,
and two, man, like we have to also consider like blood pressure, like fluid retention. Like
yeah,
I've seen people swing 20, 30 pounds in 2 days. Like that'll kill you. Like you, especially let's say if you have diuretics in the process as well leading up to this, and then we get done and we go drinking and we slam a bunch of salt and everything else, like you are going to have the most hellacious rebound of your life for the next few days.
I'll say this, man, the as I looked better, the least amount I ate after I competed.
Mm-hmm.
Like the amount of bullshit I would eat. It was when I didn't look as good as I always had like the most bullshit after a show. And this is where like me as a coach, like I sometimes forget that like it's people's first time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like let's be honest, guys, I'm not the best with first time athletes. I love them, I love coaching them, but sometimes I just forget that it's their first time. And so it's hard for me to be like, yes, this like I'll see people who just clearly aren't in shape. I'll just say exactly what I'm thinking. I'll see people who just aren't in shape, and it's like, yeah, maybe you dieted what you thought was hard, but like it wasn't that hard to still look like this, right?
Yeah.
And, given there's no underlying health issues or whatever, right? But it's like I just I run into the struggle of like being okay with that and being like, oh, well, good for them. And then they're like just going to town on food and then being like, you didn't even do it right. Like, like you didn't even prep right. Like that. And so like that is the internal here that like I obviously Alex have to do a better job at. This is why I'm not very good with first timers. Because
Well,
my standard is so like, and then when you're like, oh, it's been the longest prep I've had a cookie in forever, I'm like, you
I'm
know,
going to preface though because the what you're saying is slightly different than what you're meaning, I think, because you work with first timers and you get them to the correct level of conditioning. When I see someone who steps on stage with a 10-week outlook and they go, God, that was just so hard. Caveat that it wasn't a major weight loss. Okay, we'll just
yes,
say that. Right.
yeah,
We'll pull that out. Right. That's a different situation. My heart goes out to those people. No problems there. You just have like an average build person who diets for 10 weeks, gets down to a 10-ish week outlook, and then post show, they're like, well, that one sucked. I'm like, dude, you had 200 carbs the whole time. Eat my ass. Like that wasn't suffering. That's
yeah,
different. If you've got striated glutes, different conversation for your first show. Go have a snack. But like, you got you. If we don't have visible abs at the end of it, we didn't understand comprehend what suffering means. Which to me that means we need more time in the sport, just learning the process and understand. Let's just go through a mini cut. And also, it shows to me that your coach probably also doesn't know what the fuck is going on.
yeah, and you're exactly right. Like my first timers are some fucking dogs, so like love you
Yeah.
guys. But it's when I see other first timers that I have a hard time like showing sympathy or empathy of like, yay, good job, like I'm glad you're happy, but it's like, okay, well, like let's do it right next time, and then like earn again, it's always the people who just are out of shape who are backstage, like stuffing their face with all the bullshit and like like they can't even get to the audience to like hang out with their support group because they're just so focused on the whatever. And it's like you didn't even do it. You didn't even do it right.
We don't even get to be food focused. Like we didn't earn
Yeah,
it.
like shut, like you're not even that hungry. Like it's that y'all can clearly see because we are on video now. That drives me up a wall. However, that is why my athletes stand out because
Mhm.
I do not. I don't tolerate that shit. We're
Mm-mm.
not coming in 80% and like, well, we had fun. No, nope.
That's not fun, like at all for either party. It's like, oh, we didn't try that hard.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
why
I've
are we
let
doing this, dude?
I've let it slide a couple times because they were first timers, and I will never do it again.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I have too. Like, I'll be completely transparent. Like, I haven't always hit the mark, and it's been for a couple different reasons. But like at the end of the day, we are signing up. Just understand, if you want to get to the percent of body fat required, it's going to hurt, and it's going to be worth it. As someone who's done it, it will be worth it, but it's going to suck.
Yeah, and it's something, man. I don't have a choice, right? Like I literally have judges come up to me and say, "Your athletes, I always know which athletes yours are," and like I have no choice. I can't come to a show and you're 80%. Like
Mm-mm.
that is long gone, and so I think that's why I don't like have a lot of sympathy or empathy or whichever version of that word you want to call it. I can't relate. I'm like, man, like this some it's just not what the sport is. Like if you want to just go eat some good food and like diet hard, but I don't know, man. I'm getting way lost on topic here.
No, it's fine. It's either like we do that show and look the part, or we pick a different show further out and then look the part, or we just don't do a show.
Yeah, and I think that's my biggest problem with it is like they thought that that's 100%, and they assume that they prepped just as hard as my athletes prepped. And God forbid they win a class because like, it's a weak lineup or whatever, and then their lack of effort and their lack of like conditioning shows up and stands out, and then they get rewarded for it. But I think that's what bothers me the most is they think that they're the same of like, oh, we're in this together. Like, no, like that. I think that's what drives me nuts.
Because there it goes back to the people being about it and not like they're there to get on a stage. Like why I say like there are people who get on a stage and there are people who get on a stage to compete, and those are two different people. And someone's got to lose. It's not going to be my fucking people.
Yeah, yeah. Like, and this all ties into everything we talk about, man. Like when you're picking shows, it's like we're gonna pick the tough shows, and if someone beats us, just because like it's okay. Like we're gonna be much happier. Like we're going to be respectful losing to the overall winner than we are going and winning an overall, not really beating any competition. Like I can
Yeah.
hit me up. You want to go find a show we can win? I got a couple right now we can just walk to and a
Hmm.
piece of cake. But like if you're that caliber athlete, not only do you want to go to win, but you need to see where you stand.
Hmm.
And you don't know until you literally stand next to them.
Yeah. So just give a fuck during the whole process. Like really give a shit. Like that's it. Alex, you got anything else?
Is that it, man? We went on that podcast. Uh, oh, last one. Um, how do you know what division to compete in?
Yeah. Couple things. So you gotta look at your structure. Well, okay, so let's do it this way. It is sometimes a little bit challenging because you have to look at it from a couple different angles. One, how far do you want to go in the sport? Because sometimes that means you might not be in the division that you so love. Whether it's like I'm not gonna go the furthest in open. So I don't do it. I do classic. I just coincidentally love classic and I'm built for it. But like you might have somebody who really wants to be a wellness competitor and go really far in it, but they want to compete next year and they have more of the muscularity to align with, let's say, bikini. Um, and they want to do that. And then also looking at from the perspective, maybe the risk reward profile of drugs doesn't align. Okay, well, if we want to compete short term, we don't want to do a lot of drugs, and we align with this division, this is where we stand. If this is the boxes we have to check to make us both happy. If you don't want that and you want to go to wellness, then we compete later, right? So there's a lot of factors in that within, like, to me personally, when I look at it from like a perspective of managing a timeline, looking at the risk reward profile, and then looking at the body itself.
Mhm.
That's where it becomes challenging, not challenging, but like generally speaking, to kind of find that mold. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's a lot of it first, it's you have to factor in what the athlete likes.
Mm-hmm.
Not from a standpoint of what, like, yes, from the standpoint of what they look like, but how do they like to train? All right.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a bikini girl, it's getting too close to being too big and like borderline into wellness or into figure. If they love training, it's probably going to be hard to tell them to cut back. And so you got to open that door to that next muscled up division. If it's a bikini girl who's just getting smoked year after year, let's open that door to fit model. Like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, like that may be it. But like, so it's not only about what they like, it's about what, because like I got some badass tough chicks who like can, bikini pose just fine and put on the model walk and strut their stuff. So like personality does come into play, but it's more so
Mm-hmm.
like what do you like to do on a day-to-day basis? Like if you're wanting to be a wellness girl and you don't really like to squat, probably gotta find another division, you know?
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
So that's where that obviously the risk profile, I think guys are a little bit easier.
Mm-hmm.
Because like to be completely honest, man, pro classic is just bodybuilders with a weight cap. Um, I think we see such a discrepancy at the regional level in classic. A lot of those guys should just go and do lighter weight bodybuilding as well. So I think that's where like that's a big discrepancy. There's not You just know of a classic structure when you see it. The rest of them are just like they don't think they're big enough for bodybuilding, so they do classic. And then men's physique is just like take a classic guy who doesn't really have good legs and put some trunks on him. But men's physique's getting jacked. So yeah, it's just like if I were to give guidelines, it's what do you enjoy? Like what do you like the look of? One, because if you don't like, a lot of muscle, well then yeah, fit model bikini, men's physique is probably gonna be where you play. If you like heavy muscle, okay, well let's find you figure wellness, women's physique, that type stuff, or bodybuilding. And then you go into like what your genetic potential is, and then you go into like how you like to train, Um, because yeah, it's a tough conversation when you have some like borderline too big bikini girls. You're like, hey, can't really do a whole lot. Like we got to just run a
Yep.
little bit. Like that's not fun. Having to run someone to bring their legs down is not fun. I've had to do it.
Mm-mm. Mm-hmm.
It's Callie can't touch her upper body, this prep. So it's like, but she's okay with that. She loves to train legs, but you as you max out like your division, like it's going to start getting, hard to like appease your training with it.
Yeah, you're gonna have to start, and this is where it comes back to when we use the verbiage between like exercising, working out, and training. Like we're in a space where we are now training for a specific goal, which means that within that we might not always love everything that we have to or don't get to do. But and especially as you max out more and more of your division, it becomes more specific. I love training my legs. I need to train my arms more because they suck. I don't love training arms. I had to make a decision of I want to go further in this division and in the sport. I'm gonna have to do some shit that I don't necessarily love to do all the time. It's just
Yeah.
how it is, unfortunately.
Yeah. And yeah, Abby comes to mind. Like Abby doesn't need a back day ever. Right. So it's like she's just so close to being a pro. It's like it's a waste of a day. Right. And then so we've talked about that before. You get to a level of caliber athletes where like she doesn't want to go to another division. So it's like, okay, well, we got to stay in this lane. This is the criteria we got to fit. Luckily, like I don't want to say it's rare that a lot of times girls love to train upper body, but like if they had to pick, most times they'll probably choose lower body to train. So luckily, like that's okay. But if you're a figure girl and you don't like to train back, well then probably going to find you a new division.
For sure. For sure. If anybody ever needs a guide, I do have a competitor guide that I've built out that goes through each division specifically. If you message me on Instagram, I can email that to you. Because I think a lot of times too, like people don't even know what all divisions are actually out there.
Yeah. I'll tell you, but just DM me. I'll tell you where you
Mhm.
belong.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times like you'll get the I'm wellness and you're like, no, you're not. You're not even bigger than my bikini girls. And that's the thing too. You get people who've never been to big shows, never been to national shows, and they don't realize how big these women are in a
Mhm.
bikini class, in a wellness class. And it's not just like a tissue, it's like a literal how much space and depth do these women take up. Same thing with classic. Like a lot of like you see classic guys and they go to you see a classic pro and they're literally bodybuilders. So,
Mhm.
you know.
Should we start rating physiques on here?
I think we just hurt some feelings, man. I really don't want to do that.
Okay, we won't do that.
Unless people want us to. Like, if you want
Yeah,
us to rate your physique, yeah, sure, send it to us. But just know, like, I will genuinely be honest, and it will be recorded and not be edited out. And I'm not gonna like try to hurt your feelings, but I will give you genuine feedback.
yeah, it will hurt a little bit.
Yeah, I told Chris the other day, everything was perfect in his check-in photo, and after I told him how great he looked, I said, "We need to do this for your triceps." I
Which
still
I was,
pick
dude,
him.
I got a compliment. I was fucking chilling, dude. Like I didn't give a shit.
Yeah, yeah. But even what started that was you were like, "Do you want to see me posing?" And I was like, "That depends. Do you have can I see your legs?" Like because Chris is notorious for not sending me legs in his posing videos. So like before it even got started, I was already ready to hammer him. So
Yeah,
if you come at us, come correct because I will come correct back.
he will. He will. Yeah, that was a good one. I was really happy. I was like, only one critique, bro. We're chilling. Like we're big chilling at that point. Um, dude, I get to see you in like 2 weeks.
That's gonna be so fun.
Dude, I'm excited. I'm very excited.
The boys are back. Oh man.
It's gonna
It's
be good.
yeah.
Well, everyone, I'm gonna look again as I'm out of focus. If you are watching this, if you could like, comment, share, and subscribe, it would mean a lot to us. If you're listening to this, if you can also do the same, follow us, leave us a 5-star review, share on Instagram, share with a friend, all that good stuff. Alex, anything else? Any closing statements?
It's a wrap, dude. See y'all next week.
Yeah, so y'all, thank you for listening to the Coaches Union.